This morning, we have a name that's one of America's big names. The name is Trump. And the big horse race this year is Trump versus Hillary. With us this morning is Eric Trump, the third child of Donald Trump. Good morning, Eric Trump. How are you this morning?
Hey, John. How are you? It's great to be back with you.
Well, I've seen you on television in Scotland. You were standing next to your dad. How is Scotland?
It was beautiful. It was a beautiful day, and he was there to support me. I'd spent a long time building a hotel, one of our hotels over there, the Great Turnberry, which is a really famous resort over on that side of the world. And he's it's kind of interesting. I've been there to support him through the whole campaign, and I've been by his side every single day because I love the man. And it was so nice for him to take a couple hours out of his schedule, which is crazy to say the least these days, and be next to mine. So it was a great day for the family.
Trump has become a worldwide name even more than before. You feel if you're traveling, no matter where you're traveling in the world, people know the word Trump?
Yeah, I think there's no question. I think the name recognition just from development was incredible. Then he went off and did the Apprentice, and we went off as a family and we did the Apprentice, and that was a lot of fun. And I think it even maybe became a little bit more recognized then, which was kind of hard to imagine, but it did. And and then I think this whole election process has really taken it to a different level. There's not a place in the world that we go where people aren't either recognizing us or talking about the campaign. And we have friends from South America, we have friends from Asia, we have friends from all over Europe, and I think quite frankly they're more interested in the election than certain Americans are, and it's really exciting. Believe me, the whole world is watching our country right now, and it's a great thing.
Now, your dad is running for the most powerful position in the world. Now, give me the three most important things that your dad wants to accomplish if he became president of the United States.
Well, listen, I think I'd have to say, certainly security, certainly jobs, and I would probably say education or rebuilding our military. I think there's a couple more. Taking care of vets would certainly be in there. Negotiating good trade deals, but listen, if you look at security, right, you look at what happened last night. How many more people have to die before someone starts doing something about this problem? And the New York Post this morning, I'm sure you saw it, but the New York Post this morning had a father carrying a kid out of the airport in Turkey who was bleeding and could be dead. We're not. I don't think anybody knows yet. And but here you have Turkey. You have 41 people die and 200 injured. 200 injured and 41 dead. You saw what happened a couple weeks ago in Orlando, where you had 49 dead and many others wounded. You see what happened in Brussels earlier this year. You see what happened in San Bernardino, where gunmen went in there and killed a tremendous amount of people as they're sitting there enjoying their day. You see what happened in Paris. Obviously, you're a New Yorker, and you were here on 9/11. You know exactly what happened on 9/11, and these atrocities are being carried out all around the world, and no one's doing a single thing to stop the violence, to stop the nonsense, to stop these savages. And I think my father is pretty clear. He wants to make this country safe, and that's very much what he'll do. Somebody has to take the fight to ISIS. Somebody has to be able to point out radical Islamic terrorism, which our president, for whatever reason, isn't willing to say, and neither is Hillary. And it's years of her, of her foreign policy that has created these problems. We've stabilized the entire Middle East. We've cost this country, this nation, $4 trillion, $5 trillion, and thousands of young servicemen and women's lives. And we have a worse situation than we did if we just wouldn't have done anything. And her foreign policy has been disastrous. So. John, I think I've gone on too long about this one, but it's certainly security for a nation. It's making our nation wealthy again, not getting ripped off by every country around the world, which we are right now. We have a $500 billion trade imbalance with China. We have an $80 billion trade imbalance with Mexico. The State Department under Hillary lost $6 billion, meaning they just don't know where the money went. They can't find. That's two Tappan Zee bridges, right? They just lost it, just disappeared. I mean, we need to get to some kind of level of fiscal responsibility. We have $19 trillion worth of debt as a nation. We're bankrupting our country. And, last but not least, I think education. We're ranked 30th in the world right now. The most important people in our country are the youth of our country, the youngest generations, because they're what's going to perpetuate our nation forward. And we're not even educating our kids well. We're spending by far the most of any country, but we're not even educating them well. So, listen, John, there's a lot of problems out there, and we have to fix them, and we need to get somebody who will actually fix them, but we need to do so very, very quickly.
I had a cab driver this morning, and you know how you make conversation. I said to the cab driver, why are you supporting Trump? Because he says he was supporting Trump. He says because he thinks the way most of my friends think. Why, keeping our country safe, and why are we giving away our jobs? And I think whether they're Republicans or Democrats, I think there's a lot of sympathy towards your dad.
Yeah, listen, there's no question, and you know me, John. We've known each other for a long time, and I'm the farthest thing from a politician, but I am an American, and I see what's happening out there, and it's the very reason my father is running. He's tired of it. I mean, he's tired of seeing us taken advantage of. He's tired of seeing us used. He's tired of seeing currencies of other countries manipulated and us losing. Since 2000, we've lost 1/3 of all manufacturing jobs in this country. Since really Bill Clinton signed, NAFTA, and then Hillary supported TPP, but we've lost 1/3 of all manufacturing jobs in this country, and it is so sad. And at the same time, while Hillary's Secretary of State, and I don't mean to just be harping on her, but as Hillary's Secretary of State, her and Bill made $141 million. I mean, here's a person who's supposed to be going around the world representing the United States interests. And her and Bill, during that 7-year period of time, made $141 million. Much of that money coming from countries like Saudi Arabia and so many others where, based on Sharia law and other things, I mean, Hillary couldn't even go to those countries and walk around, because of their oppression of women and everything else. And she's supposed to be out there being, the country's greatest, diplomat. And, here she is making speeches every night at Goldman Sachs and making $141 million in 7 years, all while being a government employee. And I think, again, as a non-politician, I think, I just roll my eyes. I mean, it's abuse of power. It's corruption within government. I mean, it's really the worst thing imaginable. And, that's why my father self-funded his campaign up to this point. He's put a tremendous amount of his own money into it. I mean, he doesn't need this job, but he wants to do something great for, a country that's given him so much.
And, the other day, I saw an article from the Washington Post criticizing your dad that Donald Trump has only given $10,000 to charity in the last 7 years or something like that. And, both me and your dad are on the board of the Police Athletic League. And I called the gal that runs the league as far as charity. And she calls me back and says, well, he's given over $400,000 in the last 7 years.
John,
now, why does the Washington Post do something like that?
It was such a disgusting article, and that's the Washington Post, and that's their MO. Unfortunately, I mean, every article is just a pure kill job, and you know why. But it was so sad to me. I mean, just look at what what I do for the children of St. Jude. I'm on the board of St. Jude Children's Hospital, or I'm on one of their boards, and I raise $5-6 million personally for them every single year. I've pledged and donated over $30 million to the hospital, and charity is such a big part of our company and of our lives. My father has contributed so much to what I've done. He contributes so much to every charity, every member at our golf courses, and this and that. Anytime they ever go to a charity event, they call us up. Hey, can you give us foursomes? Can you give us lunch at one of the hotels that we can auction off? And we do thousands and thousands and thousands of those. The amount of money directly that he gives from his own pocket, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars at clip to various foundations. And then they come out.
So
and write
the
an
Washington
like
Post.
It's really sickening. I mean, it's the worst part of society when you can't even have an objective and biased media. I mean, it
was
very
straight
sad.
out lie, and
was.
they didn't bother to look underneath the whether it was the foundation that gave it or whatever, it's still Trump money.
Well, you know,
And I mean, it goes back to what happened with the New York Times with them being accused of not being fair to women, and the women that they interviewed denied it.
Well, they came out. They actually revolted, saying that it was a horrible story, and they did not say any of the things, and they were almost quoted and everything. I mean, this is the worst part of politics, and I've never seen something, again, as a non-politician. This isn't what I do. It's not what I aspire to do. But I mean, it's really a very sick world within the kind of political realm. I mean, the media bias, the kind of backdoor favors that they do for people. It's a very, very, and I think listen, you look at the approval rating of Congress. I mean, the only people that have as low of approval rating as our current government is really the media. I mean, people understand that they're not to be trusted. That a good percentage of what's reported out there is factually incorrect. And, if somebody had simply looked, right, these are charities. These are all formally, disclosed payments. They could have gone to my own foundation and looked at the amount of money that he's contributed over the years just to my foundation for, again, very sick children at St. Jude. And, but, it's a hack job, and it's done intentionally, for various reasons. And it's very, very sad, John.
Eric, it's 4th of July weekend. It's Sunday morning. People are drinking their hot cup of coffee. What do you want to tell them on 4th of July? Tell America what you want to say. 4th of July weekend, and it's your call.
Well, listen, we have the greatest country in the world. There's just no question about that. I mean, every time I sit down, I look at the fireworks going off above your head, and you have to see how you have to really thank God for how fortunate we are. We live in an amazing country. We live in an amazing place. Our forefathers certainly got it right. I mean, they really, really got it right, and we're incredibly fortunate. At the same time, corruption's squandering so much of that away, and you go too much longer, and you're just not going to have a country anymore. I mean, again, we're about to go to $21 trillion worth of debt. You're going to get to a point where you simply can't recover. I mean, just the interest payments at artificially low inflation rates, but just the interest payments on that debt are getting are choking our country. We're not rebuilding our infrastructure. We're not taking care of our veterans who have sacrificed everything for this country. We're not rebuilding our military. We're not investing in our children anymore. We have so many problems as a society. $6 billion goes missing because no one's paying attention and nothing's done about it. People are profiting off of government. The $141 million I was talking about before. I mean, we have so many problems, and we have to fix it. I mean, there's no question we live in the greatest country in the world. At the same time, it is just going in the wrong direction, and that's this, John, because you've been a friend, of the family for a long time. But you just, it's why my father's doing what he's doing. He doesn't need the job. He doesn't. This is immensely stressful and time-consuming and tiring and everything else. But he just can't watch this country continue to go in this direction because we're going to have nothing left. And hopefully, the big day that we have coming up on Monday, reminds us all of how much we have, and and not to take it for granted and not to squander it away.
Eric Trump, thank you for being with us this Sunday morning, and have a great 4th of July, and please give your dad my regards.
I absolutely will, John. Real pleasure.
Thank you.